Hey guys, it's Josh here with another video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and check out some of my old posts. If you like the video you're about to watch, please give it a thumbs up. So to start off, we're just gonna disconnect the battery so that there's no power going to the motherboard. And then in order to make sure all the power is out, we're just going to hold the power button for 5 seconds. And now we're just going to take off the cover to expose all of the internal hardware. And now you can see we have our HDD, our 2 sticks of RAM, our Ethernet, and Wi-Fi connection. So we're just going to unscrew the HDD caddy. Now the hard drive can just be pulled out, and we're just going to disconnect the SATA cable. So there's our old HDD. So now we just have to take out these side screws in order to remove the caddy from the HDD. So there's our old HDD drive. I will be making a video turning this into an external hard drive. I'll post that one after this one. So now we're going to take our new SSD, just a WD Blue SSD, 500 gigs. So now we're just going to install this into the old caddy. So now we have the new SSD in our old drive bay caddy, and we're just going to plug in the SATA cable. Plugged in, and now we'll just screw that back into place. And then we'll just reinstall this backplate cover. And reinstall the battery. And now we're all good to go with the hardware. Now we're just going to plug in our USB boot drive and boot into Windows install, and we'll install Windows. So I have my Windows 10 boot drive, USB in my laptop right now. So I'm just going to turn on the laptop. And as it's turning on, I'm just going to hit F2, and this will boot us into setup mode, which will allow us to change our boot order and boot from our USB. So now we are in the Dell BIOS. And what we're going to do is just go into boot sequence. And as you can see, it shows the UEFI SanDisk partition 1. So that is our USB. So we're going to boot from our USB now. So we're just going to exit, and it should boot from our USB. So now, as you can see, we're now in Windows 10 setup. So we have language to install as English, United States, time and currency English, United States, and keyboard input is US. So we're going to click next, and we're going to hit install now for Windows. So we're going to say, I accept the license terms, hit next. we're going to upgrade install Windows. So now we're going to hit install now. So it looks like Windows install has picked up some of the other hardware on the laptop, so there's no need to enter the activation key for this setup, but normally you'll have to enter that. We're going to hit accept. So we're going to hit custom install Windows only. We then have our drive 0. We're then going to select new. This is going to create a new partition. We're just going to hit apply. It'll create sort of its own partition with its own limit. So now we have a bunch of partitions. The primary partition, which is where all our files are going to be stored, and that's still at 465 gigs. So we really didn't lose very much from the partition. We're then just going to select next. And now we're installing Windows. So I'm just going to let this run through the install process, and then I'll show you guys the end results. So as you can see, we're now booted onto the SSD with Windows 10 installed. We're just going to do that setup. And then once I'm done with the setup, I'll show you guys Device Manager, show you that the storage is installed with the SSD, and then we'll take a look at some of the boot times. So we'll take a look at the old boot time with the 5400 RPM HDD, and then we'll take a look at the new boot time and see how they compare. So now I'm just going to search for storage devices. And as you can see on this PC, we have used 16 gigs, that's the OS, and we have 448 gigabytes available. So that's good. So now I'm just gonna shut down the PC and start it up again so we can do a side-by-side comparison on boot times between the old hard drive and the new SSD. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video helped. If you enjoyed it, please leave it a thumbs up.